everyone. Welcome back to Loopy Studio. And today I'm here to talk about Sweet Magnolias Season 5. And yes, I know it is over a month late, but summer has been super busy. I've been so tired from work at the end of the day that it just took me a while to finish the season. But I'm glad I finished it and I can go ahead and record a review on it because I'm excited to talk about it because it was overall, in my opinion, a major step up from seasons 3 and 4. Now, and honestly, maybe parts of season 2 as well. I personally think season 2 was not a bad like seek continuation of season 1, which I thought was like perfect in almost every single way. I thought season 2 was pretty good overall. And then season 3, it took a nosedive, and season 4, I think, went even like season 4 to me, the only redeeming part was Annie and Ty briefly being together, but even then, that ended in flames at the end of the season. This season, I think they fixed a lot of their things. I mean, most notably, they fixed Cal's hair, which I'm so glad that they did. It was a complete mess. I mean, it's never looked great in my opinion, but it looked really good this season. And honestly, Maddie and Cal actually had a really good like relationship this season. There were some like very steamy moments with them. Like a lot of they definitely made them like the most passionate couple, the one that had like the most like romantic appeal, I guess, as opposed to the other two. I mean, one of the lead couples really had no romance at all this season, because of the plot line. But yeah, Maddie and Cal were definitely, I would say, the most solid couple overall. They really didn't have any issues, any arguments. They were just kind of happy, a married couple. Yeah, honestly, I was fine with that, considering the stark contrast with the issues that Helen and Eric and Dana, Sue, and Ronnie were having. I like that Maddie and Cal just kind of got to be the breath of fresh air. I like that we saw Cal supporting Maddie with, losing her job and everything, and Maddie supporting Cal as he puts together the whole baseball team. And I mean, I wasn't surprised that Maddie's whole New York storyline ended so early. I mean, there was no way she was going to stay there the whole season. They had to find a way to bring her home. I didn't expect her to be fired, though. I honestly just thought she would just quit because she missed her family. But I kind of like that they went about the way that they did with her being fired for for like standing up for what was right and making an impact. And then by the end, realizing that her hard work paid off because of connecting those two authors together and seeing the success that they're going to have together with the new librarian Beatrice, or with the librarian, whatever. And then, of course, the finale when her old boss shows back up and tries to win her back, and her and Cal basically say "fuck you" and get out. That, I mean, honestly, full circle moment right there, and and she didn't even consider it. She was just like, "Get the hell out of my house." And Cal didn't even really have to say anything. Maddie just took charge of that moment right there. So, and I really like Cal getting back into his baseball roots and them actually finding something for the character to do rather than just kind of be like a nuthead or nuthead, whatever. Just like kind of a dumbass, I guess. Like they just kind of like have dumbed him down, I feel like, in the previous seasons. I mean, they teased and had a storyline about his anger issues, but they never really like they kind of got rid of that, and then they just had him last season just be burned out. But this season they gave him something to be passionate about, and we saw his return to his baseball roots, and of course him developing a better relationship with Maddie's kids, or well, two of them, considering one of them isn't even in this season. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, overall, Maddie and Cal were definitely a couple of goals this season. I enjoyed their relationship. I enjoyed their growth as characters. And yeah, so Helen and Eric were overall they were good this season. I mean, they gave Eric an actual storyline with his family. We the only thing we really knew about his family is that he had lost his wife. But beyond that, we didn't know much about his family. But this season really delivered on that. We got to meet his parents, his brother, his niece, finding out that his parents are incredibly hard to please, and that he ended up trying to please them through the planning of his wedding with Helen, and Helen was not having that. And it took Jessica showing up for Helen to realize how messed up the Whitley family is. So then, they have to put a temporary pause to the wedding, saying we're postponing it until we're on the same page. but then they work it out when he says, if it was actually a really good speech when he said, "If our house was on fire, the only thing I grab is you." That was sweet and worthy. I'll give him that. And obviously, by the end of the season, Eric works through that stuff with his parents, and they get married. And overall, I mean, they kind of dragged out the Helen and Eric wedding, not gonna lie. Even though a wedding is such a finale event, I mean, I kind of figured they would drag it out, but it was really nice to see Helen get her happy ending, and they're gonna foster kids, and I think that's gonna be really cool. I guess that's gonna be a plot line for season 6. So, I mean, I like that they gave Eric a good storyline, and I do feel like I would have liked to have seen Helen actually have more of an individual arc. I mean, we saw her developing a bond with Jessica, Eric's niece, but beyond that, we just didn't really see her do much. Like, I do miss her being a lawyer and helping out with cases and stuff. I hope next season we kind of get to see some of that, but I have a feeling they're just kind of moved past that, considering we'll probably see her as a mom next season, as a foster mom. But I do kind of miss lawyer Helen because she's so theatrical, but she can be, tough at times too. That's what I like about her character. And I still enjoy her character, and I enjoy what the actress brings to her, but I just feel like they have kind of lost the way with her individual arc. I mean, this season was more focused on Eric, obviously, the giving him his time to shine, but we'll see about next season. I'm looking forward to whatever they have store for them. And although parts of it kind of felt a little, what's the term? Unnecessary, I guess. Like, did Helen and Eric really need this drama? Couldn't we have just seen them happily get married, happily planning the wedding, all of that? But it was necessary to delve more into Eric's past and give them an obstacle for the wedding to ultimately be a bigger payoff by the end of it. So I think I was fine with it at the end of the day. So Dana Sue and Ronnie. Oh boy, is this interesting. So right off the get-go, we see Ronnie involved with this bike barn, and he is working with Maddie's mom's new boyfriend's daughter, Courtney, and Jeremy, who's Noreen's boyfriend. It's also kind of just funny to see the two guys that Dana Sue was in a love triangle with back in season 2 are now working together. That was just kind of funny to me. And Jeremy doesn't even feel like the same character that he was then. Like, he was definitely a lot more swoon worthy, I'd say, and he had the longer hair too. Now they just have kind of just freshened him up a bit and just put him with Noreen. They didn't really know what to do with the character, but they gave him a bit more to do with this season, giving him the business with Ronnie, and obviously Courtney is just very weird, just gives off very odd vibes. She's just not very good at organizing or managing or running a business in general. She doesn't really mesh well with, her coworkers, but she has money and her dad has money, and basically he buys her out of every single situation. And by the end of it, she buys bikes from an off dealer for cheaper, and this basically separate like tears apart the Ronnie and Jeremy partnership, and Jeremy wants out. Um, and Courtney's out though. Like, the bike barn's basically done by the end of the season, but Ronnie wants to continue it. And Dana Sue this whole time is just really upset with Ronnie for putting the bike barn before his family. Annie's graduating and he won't make time for her. He's too busy with the business. But Ronnie's whole thing is that I want you and Annie to be proud of me. But Dana Sue's whole thing is we kind of already are proud of you. But I kind of understand both sides there. But the thing with Ronnie is that when, like, with this whole thing continuing, especially after of course their house got on fire, and I was really expecting the fire to make Ronnie change his ways, but he didn't really change after that. He just kept throwing himself into the business as a distraction from his marriage, and it's too late because once Jeremy wants out of the business, he had the perfect opportunity to say, screw the business. I'm done with it. I'm going to rededicate myself to my wife and my daughter. And yeah, he had the perfect opportunity right there, and he didn't take it. And especially because Dana Sue was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. She went to Jeremy and Noreen with him. They talked things through. She confronted Courtney. She was willing to be by her husband's side. He had the perfect out for the business, and he wouldn't take it. So I think Ronnie's at fault there for sure. And Dana Sue's just upset because he won't learn. And by the end, because obviously their house burned down, so they're looking for apartments. And she says, I'm going to look for an apartment for just me. And he asks, are you leaving me? And she says, I don't know. So obviously, this leaves us up in the air. Are they going to get a divorce again? So ultimately, for this to actually amount to something, I feel like they would have to get a divorce because I was kind of shocked that they went this far with it. I thought for sure they would kind of make up by the end of the season and they would just be like another roadblock for them that they came out on the other side of. But they actually went a step further and had it end kind of ambiguously, kind of be the cliffhanger. There's like always a cliffhanger with a couple at the end of each season, and they made it be them this time. And personally, I kind of hope they get a divorce, as awful as that is to say. I think that relationship has ran its course. I feel like they have tried and tried and tried again to make it work, and it's just not working. And if they try to do it again, I just feel like it would feel repetitive. And I'm not even saying that because I want her to get with Clark, even though I do think they have good chemistry. I don't want that to happen, but I just think they need to find something new. And although it would really hurt Annie, obviously, considering, her parents getting divorced again, it would really hurt her, really upset her. But I just don't know if I see them getting back together at this point. They have just ran the course with their relationship. I don't know how they could repair it. So obviously this leads to Clark, who he has this place near the restaurant or like by the restaurant, and he is selling it to the Magnolias. He's an old friend. They went to high school with him, and there's some drama there. He backs out because he doesn't want to give up his dad's legacy, but then he ends up giving it to them while keeping a share of the profits, working alongside them. And obviously this sets up an interesting dynamic with Clark and Dana Sue because there's definitely some flirtation there. And, maybe that's the what she needs. Maybe she needs another Jeremy, some like a distraction, like a fling or something. I could definitely see that. I don't actually see that relationship lasting, but it's hard to say. Personally, I think maybe she'll have a fling with him or whatever, but I honestly would just like to see Dana Sue be single for a little while. I think she needs that time to work on herself. We've seen Maddie go through a single stage. We've seen Helen be single too for a while. So I think it would be good to see Dana Sue be single, whether that she has something brief with Clark or not, we'll have to wait and see. One thing I'm kind of confused about, I don't know why the Magnolias are opening up another business. Like, it seems a bit excessive. Like, they have the spa, but do they really need to open up another business? Shouldn't they just put all their energy into? I mean, I know that the spa is doing well and they want to, keep on creating. That's fine, but it felt like they were struggling to figure out something to do with the Magnolias. What are they going to do next and work on together? So they just gave them a new business, which fine. I mean, it kind of feeds into their passions. Maddie with the library, or the bookshop, and Helen with the art gallery or whatever, and Dana Sue with her teaching kitchen. It feeds into their passions pretty well, their individual passions and interests. So I guess that's a good thing in them getting to use those passions and build something meaningful. It is nice, but I'm like, really, two businesses? I mean, whatever. You girls do you. So, like, I've talked about the three major relationships. It took me 14 minutes to get through that. So, kind of summing through everything else, I mean, I guess we can talk about Annie real quick because now that, you know what, let's just go ahead and talk about Annie and Ty. Let's just go ahead and do it. So, the actor who plays Ty is not in season 5. This was confirmed beforehand, so everyone knew going in that he would not be in the season, and that means Annie and Ty have broken up, and they're not actually broken up by the start of it. It basically, once he doesn't come back for Annie's graduation, she just tells him it's done. It happens off screen and all of that. So, I mean, I think a lot of people did not like this season because of how they screwed over Annie and Ty. And honestly, I mean, the actor obviously had a different commitment or personal stuff. We don't know. But I mean, there wasn't anything they could do about it. I know they didn't like that they made him like his dad, like a deadbeat kind of guy, but what else could they really do? I mean, it's so unlike the character just to not come back or not be there. He's a really, he's a supportive dude. He's loyal, caring. That's what we know about Ty. So it is kind of frustrating to see them kind of do a disservice to his character there, but I mean, the alternative was to just to say that he was too busy on tour, but I mean, still, that wouldn't have made any difference. They still would have had to break up Annie and Ty. Now, the direction that they take Annie by putting her into a little love triangle was kind of silly, especially because we knew who she was going to get with. She was going to get with the blonde dude, Noah was his name, because he presented as the the Rome like the Hallmark type option, the perfect dude. They go on long walks together. They talk about stuff like nature and stuff, and they like photography. They're just gonna put her with her, obviously, the guy that she has a deeper connection with, as opposed to Blake, the guy that works with her dad at the bike barn. And I thought that would be an interesting dynamic, would be to have her date an employee of her dad, but they screwed up with the bike barn plot line. They made it super uninteresting. That could have been an interesting thing, and that could feed into her problems with her dad. Because I would have liked to have seen a lot more of Annie struggling with her dad being so occupied with the business, but they make it a Dana Sue problem, and they throw Annie into this love triangle instead. Even after her house burns down, she's not really even bothered by it. She throws herself into her work, and I mean, she makes a friend in Jessica, and that's nice. And I do like getting to see the mini Magnolias form their own squad, and I do really like that. But Annie, I think they kind of struggled with what to do with her. I think there could have been some more potential there instead of throwing her into a love triangle that we already knew who she would pick. But I mean, her and Noah are sweet, but it's nothing like her and Ty. It's not going to be. But of course, they left the cliffhanger with Ty calling her right after she goes off to dance with Noah. And I'm like, okay, so are they going to bring him back, or are they just going to say he was calling to check in? They might not even address it. It's hard to say. Personally, I think if he doesn't come back, I doubt season six will do very well. I think season five, like people, not everyone knew that he, like, people that don't like read articles or whatever didn't know that he wasn't going to be in it. So I think they just still watched it anyways, just to see if he would make an appearance, and they just watched it all the way through, and then were pissed off when he didn't, even though you think they would have heard, but not everyone obviously reads that stuff. But I don't think people are going to want to watch season six if he's not in it. So I think they're going to really try hard to bring him back. But whether they do or not, I don't know. Obviously, if they do, that's going to send Annie's arc into a completely different direction because she's going off to college. So what does that mean for her and Ty? I don't know. What does it mean with her and Noah? I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. I would like to see Ty back even for just a little period of time, at least to see him with his family, because they kind of make it too that he, like, they really strengthen the bond between Cal and Kyle, where we got used to the dynamic between Cal and Ty just because he coached him, but they, because Ty's not there, they kind of make Kyle like Cal's favorite, which I would like to see Ty come back and to see that dynamic. I just would like to see Ty come back. Whether they throw him and Annie back together or not, I don't know, but I would just like to see him back because I like him. He is, in some ways, him and Annie are the heart of the show. They're why people watch. I mean, besides the friendship with the three girls, I mean, that's obviously why people watch too, but I think people were just upset that they ruined Annie and Ty. That's like a lot of the stuff that I saw, and they're not watching season six if they don't bring Ty back. So that's why I don't see season six doing well if they don't bring him back. So I think they're really going to try to bring him back. I don't know if they will be able to or not, though. So Kyle and Lily's relationship, I don't really care about. I didn't care about the whole play plot line at all. It was like that and the bike barn were just the two plot lines I was least interested in. At least the bike barn, was related to Dana Sue and Ronnie's marriage, so at least it was somewhat important. But this whole play plot line is so boring, and unfortunately, I do feel like the teen drama used to be, in my opinion, the most interesting part of this show, but they have made it into one of the weaker parts, especially since Ty's left. Throwing Annie into a love triangle, this whole plot line, I just didn't care for either storyline. And I just think the Kyle and Lily relationship, it's too cheery, too giddy. I don't really care. Um, and yeah, I just don't care about them. So I mean, they really want to try to make you like them, but I just don't like them. I just don't care for them. Isaac, I mean, I'm indifferent about him. Him and Michael, they're cute together. They're kind of like, I don't need to see a whole lot of them, but doses of them here and there, I'm fine with. Noreen, thankfully, I think she got less screen time this season overall, and I do think she was a bit more likable than she was before. I don't think the actress is still all that great, but she might have improved a little, or maybe I just was less annoyed because she was a lot more likable. We saw her lead the art guild. You know, I think they fixed the Isaac and Noreen thing because I think a lot of people were complaining about how much screen time they have been getting, and they just kind of gave them less. And I think people, or at least I, appreciate that because they don't need to have a lot of screen time. Doses of them here and there are fine. I think I was fine with the amount that they put them in this season. I really like that they added Peggy into the mix with the Magnolias. And, giving, because last season was the whole plot line with her being mayor and struggling, and I just didn't really care for that. But this season, they added her into the mix with the Magnolias, and I really like that. Helen bringing her in as one of her bridesmaids, I really like that. So I really like how they've handled Peggy's character. I've always liked her. I've always thought she was an interesting character, even though her and Isaac like didn't share a single scene or interaction together this season at all, which I thought was kind of strange. But whatever. I literally just realized that they like didn't interact once. I literally forgot they were mother and son until I just thought, wait, who's her son? Because I knew there was a whole plot line. I'm like, oh, Isaac, yeah. They didn't interact once. I was surprised, but yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have seen his mom meet Michael. I don't know. I feel like maybe the writers kind of forgot that she was his mom. I mean, I think a lot of fans honestly forgot too because it's just not the focus at all. They kind of moved on from that, but I would have liked to have seen something there, some sort of scene, whether it was small, I don't know. And I like that they didn't give the Magnolias some unnecessary conflict. Because in season three, they had the multi-episode conflict, the falling out over Helen's relationship with Ryan. And then season four, they tried to create some drama when or Helen and Dana Sue were upset that Maddie didn't tell them she was getting married, that she threw the surprise wedding at them. But this season, no unnecessary drama. We just saw them being supportive of each other, and it was a breath of fresh air. And I think this season overall, the conflict just felt more organic, more interesting. The storylines felt more intriguing, engaging, etc. I think even though I do agree with the fact that it's a bit too preachy, but I'm used to it at this point, and it does show how much they've grown, and I think it makes sense for them to speak like this because of the lessons they've learned and all of that. And I mean, there's some like joking around too. There's some funny parts throughout that I laughed at, but it's just kind of if you're gonna watch the show, you just have to be used to the preachiness of like the preachy aspect of it all. It's just part of it. It hasn't always been like that. That's why I still think season one is the best. But I think this is probably the best season since season one. It just I think they fixed a lot of the issues that the past seasons have experienced, and even though Ty's not in it, they managed without him. Even though I didn't love the love triangle they threw Annie into it, I mean, it could have been worse, I guess. I was just kind of indifferent about it. I wasn't really like rooting for one guy over the other, like you're supposed to with a love triangle. But yeah. So let me know down below. What did you think of season five? Did you think it was any better than previous seasons, or are you just kind of done with the show at this point? Either one's possible. I think they will get a season six. I don't think they're going to do anything more. I think they'll announce this next one as the final. I don't see this show going on any longer. I mean, it could, but now that Helen's married, I feel like they might next season. I mean, really the only dangling thing is what's Dana Sue gonna do? Is she getting a divorce or whatnot? Um, but if they had resolved that, then this could have been the series finale, but they kind of left that open-ended. So I like to think that maybe they're doing something there. But yeah, let me know down below your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.